We're going to be using our NPR podcasting
NPR
voices today.
Schmoopiedaddy had too much fun last night.
Time's up. Let's do this.
We're in for a wild night.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 301 of Born to be Wild, a wild Hearthstone podcast where we have fun hanging out with friends, talking about the wild formats of Hearthstone, and spotlighting members of the wild community. I am your host, ElectricSheepCity. It's great to be back on this fantastic Friday evening here in Kickin' Rad, Colorado. I am joined by fellow host, Schmoopiedaddy.
As they say in the old country, JQKS dash CLTP dash 6CM3W dash TS6L dash RLHB.
For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. We record this podcast live every Friday evening at twitch.tv/borntobewildhs. And the video version of this podcast is posted to YouTube shortly thereafter. Audio versions are also distributed to all of the podcast apps. However you are watching, listening, or absorbing via osmosis this podcast today. Thank you. Yes, you.
Content plug, Schmoopiedaddy. Before we get into the main topic of the show tonight, I'd like to say a quick thank you to patrons of our show. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and comment on this video on YouTube. Another simple way to support the show is to leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. If you're watching live on Twitch, we've got some awesome emotes that you can unlock by subscribing to the channel. This is free if you use Amazon Prime. And finally, if you'd like to support the show financially, you can join our Patreon for as little as $1 per month. We have some channels in the Discord that are unlocked by subscribing to the Patreon, where you can see the show coming together each week. Check it out. If you'd like to interact with us personally, please join our Discord, a free and amazing online community of friends from all across the world who love talking about wild Hearthstone. Links to all of this stuff and more, including our merch, can be found on our website, which is www.borntobewildhs.com. Sheep, how's your week?
My week was pretty good. So last week, I ended up hitting Legend in our format of Wild, using that Z Elemental Shaman that we covered in episode 300. That was so much fun. I love the elementals, and then every fifth one being like doubled is just like incredible, and it scratched the itch that I didn't know that I needed to scratch. And so then this week, post nerfs, I ended up hitting Legend in Standard as well, using Z Shaman. So not elementals, but there's like an elemental package in it, but it's not not the closed loop that ours is. Like that.
Right.
That was just clean. Mm-hmm. But of course, doing all the Deathwing stuff too, and whenever you're doubling up a invoking or imbuing or heralding, that's what it's called. Whenever you're doubling that up, it spirals up really quick. And then whenever you're doubling up the Ultraxian like discount of the Deathwing, like it's either costing 3 or 1 whenever you play it, or at least whenever I play it. So it just kind of sailed up with that one too. I also played a decent amount of like Quest Hunter. Quest Hunter was really fun too. So been having a lot of fun playing a lot of Hearthstone, and that's been so much. Yeah, it's been a blast.
Nice.
Outside of that though, I've I've been reading a lot of comics, in particular the Invincible comics, as my shirt probably gave away. Been really into
Now that
that
you mentioned it, I made the connection, but I did not make the connection until you mentioned it.
it.
Not that I've watched like a little bit of it, but not a ton.
Well, very good, very, very violent and graphically so. And the comics are like, take that up like a notch or 12, which is great if you're expecting that, you know?
Right.
So on my lunch break today, I finished issue 68. I've got these like, they're called like library editions of them, and they're like these really big like textbooks essentially, but with comics in them. And so I'm just about through with the third, and there's 6 total. And then so I'm just about to where the show, like season 4's cliffhanger. I'm about, I'm guessing, since I haven't gotten there yet, but like 7, maybe 8 issues away from that, and then I'll be like seeing into the future. So it'll be like,
Ooh.
right now it's like, this happened, and wow, this hasn't happened in the show yet, but no, these things are, oh my gosh, it's so good.
So you're getting like little peeks because they're doing stuff in a little bit out of order. Oh, that's funny.
Mm-hmm. Well, and especially the way comics work, you know, it's an issue typically comes out a month, right? There are 144 issues in the whole run. So it took a long time, but they, you know, lay a whole lot of seeds that in the show, they, you know, do it in a more self-contained way, which is probably better for like show storytelling. But in the comics, they have to like, lay the groundwork a lot earlier and like keep people coming back and buying issues and all that stuff. And I don't have to worry about that. They all came out, but yeah, it's been a blast there too. That's kind of been it for me. Lamb is doing great. He goes to school and is excited about hot air balloons whenever we see those. This morning we saw 2 parachuters. So that was exciting.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. And then he was like all disappointed that they weren't there for like even longer. And it's like, my dude, this is how special it is. Like they don't stay in the air for very long. So the fact that we saw them, like, that's incredible. And I think he liked that.
I live close enough to West Point that it was not uncommon before things kind of tightened up security wise to go to like a West Point football game, just because like it's an old, like it's an ancient college football program. It's very very venerated, even though they weren't very good for a long time, and I kind of still not very good. They run like an ancient style of offense called the wishbone that literally it's like it's all running
Do they
from the
still
quarterback.
run the wishbone?
I mean, I think they might have modernized by now, but like I literally grew up watching them playing the wishbone, and I'm like, what are we doing here, guys? But anyway, so one thing they would occasionally do is if the weather was good, they would have jumpers that would bring down the game ball from a plane and parachute into the stadium, and they'd nail it like right on. Like they'd call it, if it looked like it was dicey at all, they'd call it off. So it didn't, I don't think it happens every game, or I don't even know if they still even do it. But yeah, they like, you know, the Hudson's right there. So if they got to do an emergency drop into the Hudson, they'll just drop into the Hudson, get fished out. It is cold that time of year, so they probably want to avoid that. But yeah, no, guys dropping right on the 50 is pretty cool. So that's fun. I just remember as a kid being a similar age to Lamb, looking up, being like, ooh, and because like you're where you park in one spot, and then you're basically like walking through, like not the campus, but where people are living, like kind of off campus housing for the officers and for like, you know, where the trainees are. So like you're getting little peeks of them as you're going through, and it's a pretty part of the world anyway.
Yeah. Oh, so whenever I went to college, it was at Texas A&M, and there's always a flyover every single time. And so for
Nice.
about like a decade after, you know, going there, like worked and lived in the area too, right? So every Saturday during football season, you'd get those huge ones going over, and it's like, oh, what is it today? Like getting the binoculars out. We would never actually, see them come down. I don't think that they did the like parachuting down. I feel like I would know that, but always the flyover. That was always
That's
so
cool.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of been my week. Schmoopiedaddy, what's going down in Daddy Town?
My weeks, or what happened in my weeks, has basically been completely over encompassed with my current state where I am now. I am so hungover. And here's how that happened. So I decided I was streaming yesterday, and I arranged with Sprinkle to kick it off right before, like right at 9 p.m. when I usually start my stream, my time. Got quick, 03, got completely swept. Sprinkle played great. I don't think I played particularly well. And I was up, and I was mad. I was upset. And so earlier that day, my wife's like, I'm not supposed to be drinking any beer, but the fall beers are coming out. And she's like, I do love a good pumpkin stout. So I'm like, all right, let me go find a pumpkin stout. So I found 2 varieties of pumpkin stout, and I got myself a 4-pack of this like summertime Pilsner from a place that's not far from me called Newburgh Brewing Company. I really like their beers. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll have this, or I'll have 1 or 2 or whatever. Right. And so I lose in THL. I started doing on my stream post THL, like I handpicked a bunch of decks from different weeks in THL, and I'm doing a survivor competition. And I'm calling it Hyper Survivor, where it's people can sign up, and I'll assign their names to a deck, and if their deck wins the survivor competition, they'll get some sort of perk in the stream or perk in the Discord or whatever. One loss eliminates a deck. So I basically have gone through 4 weeks of THL, picked out the good, the bad, the weird, and slapped them on a sheet, 52 of them. And so we're going to see which one comes out on top when all that is said and done. And it was like beginning of round 1 yesterday. So I wasn't going to get through all 52, right? 52 games is like enough games to play like all day. I think I got through 18.
Solid.
At one point I said during the stream, I'm not finishing until I finish this 4-pack. And I think that was in the middle of like beer 2.5. Yeah. I stayed up way too late. I was having too much fun. I ended the stream too late. I did dishes. I came back upstairs. I hung out with Cantaloupe, which is when you know it's bad. I know it's bad. I know it's bad for my EU friends and people when they make my stream, because it's like, dear God, what time is it for you where you are? And that was what it was like when me hanging out with Lope. So my head hurts. I've taken double a leave. I'm gonna hope that it kicks in some time during the pod, because reading the show notes in day mode is killing me right now. And I basically can't see past. I don't remember anything before I was hungover. I've just basically this is my existence now. And I can't wait to go to bed to rest up so it doesn't happen anymore. 1 4-pack does me in apparently these days, and that's how you know you're getting old, when you're when something like that lays you low. But yeah, no. So there's where I'm at. How's the news doing? We had a lot of it.
That we did.
Welcome to the news. The news is so good.
And there was a lot of it, starting out with patch 36.2.2 patch notes. So patch 32.2 releases today, quote unquote. That I put that in quotes because that was 3 days ago from time of recording on August the 18th. So released then. with balance updates for constructed Hearthstone and Battlegrounds. So we're going to skip the Battleground stuff like normal.
Yeah, there's a lot of BGs.
Mm-hmm. And how.
And how.
They also reminded us that they have an upcoming dev update. Well, then upcoming. It was 2 days ago. We'll get there. So the balance updates. The dev comment. Well met. We've been closely monitoring player feedback and gameplay data since the last balance update. While the current top decks are relatively close in power, many players have expressed frustration with some of the format's most common play patterns and the lack of variety among competitive options. Since our balance strategy is about more than just card stat power levels, we're making several significant changes aimed at reducing those frustrations and opening the door for a wider range of strategies to succeed. So the first one is a nerf, and that is to Warden Maev. Used to be a 1/4, is now a 1/3. The dev comment is that Maev often felt difficult to answer when played on turn 2. Reducing her health should create more opportunities for counterplay while maintaining her buffing power. And that breakpoint from 4 to 3 is actually pretty significant.
Yeah, I don't know how it feels in standard. I know Wild, she was a fringe card. People were using her in stuff like Cute Warrior primarily.
Mm-hmm.
You know, trying to the Warp Tooth deck. Let's turn my 0 mana 1/1s into actual like spaced tempo threats so that there's stuff that's left behind after my opponent clears my board. I know that Reno Hunter was sniffing her, like some tempo forward decks were starting to sniff her a little bit that aren't like super tribal, like a decent just sort of Reno card again. I know the Cute Warrior people weren't too bothered with her getting hit, so I'm guessing it's not that impactful in Wild. I will say she was a beast in Arena. So like, I remember like you had some turns where it's like, oh, okay, all my stuff is very large now. So yeah, I don't know how the hit is in standard, but at least for Wild for sure, people don't seem to be too bothered. But it is true, it's a big breakpoint difference.
Mm-hmm. And in standard, I've still seen a lot of Warden Maev seeing play, but she doesn't stick around as much. So people don't typically just toss her out on 2 anymore. It's more like she was, I think, intended to be played. Play her alongside a number of other cards to then, have a board, and then she gets dealt with pretty quickly. So that makes sense. That in our format, completely unbothered because she wasn't staying alive in our format at all.
No. Or she was hanging around forever and was too slow. Like it's just like it's weird because you're either fighting for board like desperately, and she was already kind of easy to remove already, or you're kind of ignoring board entirely, and she was really, her effect was either not really helping or like, it's kind of like whatever. If she's going to stick around, she's going to stick around. I'm not worried about the board anyway. So it's kind of like a weird like Goldilocks zone where it doesn't actually matter what happens to Maev.
Mm-hmm. The next nerf is that to Galagio Goon. Used to be a 1 mana 1/3 and is now a 2 mana 2/3, still elemental, and after you play a Battlecry minion, give it +1/+1. I still see this in standard. I actually cut it from my Z Shaman that I ended up hitting Legend with, but I still run into people playing it, and it still seems kind of decent. So, I mean, seems like a decent nerf where it's, the power went down a little bit, but it's still a strong card.
What's the 2 mana 2/3 elemental that buffs every elemental that hits the board by +1/+1? What's that thing called? You've played more
Oh,
elementals
the
than me.
Flame Revenant, I think.
Yes, Flame Revenant. Thank you. It's worse Flame Revenant now.
Yeah.
But it is Flame Revenant 3 and 4. And the wild deck, I think, still does play it. OTZ has actually been maintaining her rank playing Elemental Shaman, even post these nerfs. So I think I've seen her play this card in that deck. It's like, good enough?
Especially if you get like the 4 mana 4/5 Granite Forgeborn, I think.
Yeah.
If you get that doubled up once, then like all of a sudden Galagio Goon is free anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, good point.
And we're doing that pretty regularly on 4. Ask me how I know. I hit Legend with that deck.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've got the reps. You've got the receipts.
Moving on then to Mugsy. This one's a pretty significant one. Mug's Magic, the one where if you only run spells in your deck, now only unlocks on turn 3. So your first minion each turn costs 2 less, unlocks on turn 3. The dev comment is one of the most common player frustrations we've seen is how quickly Mug Shaman can snowball games. So we're delaying access to Mug's hero power until turn 3. And in which case, like, why play the deck? Like that's the whole point, is to actually get things out early. And I don't think I've run into a single Mug Shaman since the nerfs, and I understand why. Like, why bother?
I never played a Mug Shaman. I probably won't play Mug Shaman. I won't even attempt to play Mug Shaman. So, okay.
Here's the big one for us. Confront Tol'Vir. Old 5 mana. We play all 1-cost cards. You've played this game. Targets enemies if possible. Now 4 mana. So cheaper. Cheap. I thought this was a nerf. Summon each 1-cost minion you've played this game. So the dev comment is, we've continued to hear feedback about the repetitive nature of Confront the Tol'Vir and the amount of value it can generate from a single card. Changing it to work only with minions puts a natural cap on its potential while also reducing the card draw and sustain, my editorialization, reach, that allowed Hunter to keep pressure on opponents for extended periods past what we would typically expect from an aggressive deck.
Yeah, they took this out back and shot it. This is their first war song in a long time, where it felt like they were just done with a card, and they said, you know what? We don't want to manage it anymore. We don't want to up with this anymore, so we're not going to. Screw it. Let's just nuke it, because it's kind of useless to everybody in this form. Our format, standard, I imagine, like nobody likes this.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a single face or tripwire Hunter in standard sense, and with good reason, because it's just bad now. Not a good card.
And I tried to be like, well, maybe like, Beast Hunter still uses it because it replays little wormy guys. But then somebody reminded me, like, yeah, but it doesn't play the 1-mana spell that gets you more wormy guys in your hand. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, total Giga sucks now. So I mean, hopefully, I don't know what it gets. I hope it gets reverted when it gets brought back to what form. I think the 5-mana one was perfectly acceptable. Some people seem to think that like Wild is fine with Tol'Vir being 3. I think there's more cool decks to play with Tol'Vir if you move it to 3. So I'm of mixed opinion, because one of those decks is Odd Hunter, and I'm not a big fan of Odd Hunter. However, I do love the little Tol'Vir Discover Hunter we were playing. That was a lot of fun. So Interesting to see. We're gonna, people are gonna be on revert watch to see, in a couple. We knew it was gonna get hit eventually.
Yeah.
It's just we didn't expect it to
Again.
get murdered. It got revealed and we're like, this is broken. Cool. So like, let's see where this ends up. It's going to be in the back of people's minds for a little, better part of over a year waiting for reverts when it rotates.
Mm-hmm. Next up, Arcane Tripwire. Old, deal 5 damage split among all enemies, and new, deal 4 damage split among all enemies. Still a 3 mana hunter spell. Arcane.
Odd Hunter was using it. Odd Hunter relied on Tol'vir. Odd Hunter died when Tol'vir died. I haven't seen anybody attempt it ever since. Really fun spell to pair with something like Acid Maw. It looks like the little package of that and the shovel was actually pretty good in Wild too, and was working great in Odd Hunter. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I was even seeing Fishy late start to use this in like a Tol'vir Discover Hunter style deck, where it's like, oh yeah, we're just ripping the trip wires, and we'll get the tricksters down, and then rip the trip wires, and the tricksters are up with the trip wires, and it was really cool. But I was like, Fishy, this is like one of the saddest streams ever. This is like, like, you got to go put your pet down and you're taking it for like one last walk around the block. And it's like, oh, poor Fido. Like, damn, it was a depressing stream. It was a depressing stream. But yeah, GG's Arcane Tripwire. This would be a safe revert when it hits Wild for sure.
Even in Standard, it felt like with the Tol'vir nerf that this was just kind of superfluous. Like, don't get me wrong, the slight nudge to this, I feel like if Confront the Tol'vir wasn't hit, yeah, tone it down just a little bit, sure. But because Tol'vir was hit, it's like that whole deck is just gone. This seemed a little extra, in my opinion. But
yeah, the Hunter Discord, Sidisi's Discord was a little sad.
I need to update my Hunter like wins. I always forget about that. And until after I get tagged on social media.
Discord just to make like, I joined the Discord just because I assume he's gonna do a ping at some point. Hey guys, I'm gonna collect the numbers, and like I want to remember for once, right?
Whenever that happens, please remind me too.
I'll ping you too. All right, sounds good.
Thank you. Because I think mine still says I have like 2,700, and I'm now over 3K. So
yeah, I was behind by like 200 plus wins too at some point, because I was just like, well, we've had fun like Hunter things to play, and then I realized he's also counting other regions like EU and Asia on that. So I was like, all right, well then if that's the case, like I did an entire EU climb with my Tol'vir Hunter, so that was at least 60 wins in the bank. So, I'll go from there.
Moving on to Jade Guardians. Jade Guardians used to be 3 mana and is now 5 mana. Since we play Wild, this is get 2 random 8-cost minions. They cost 1 less for each card you played for 2 mana this game. It's a rogue spell. The dev comment is, similar to Mug Shaman and Maiev, Jade Guardians can often create insurmountable board states earlier than we would like. We're increasing the mana cost to maintain its high value output, but push those massive turns later.
I think I've won a game in Wild because of Jade Guardians, specifically randomly generated, playing some Garbo Rogue. But this has no impact on the Wild whatsoever.
In Standard, oh my gosh, I love 2-Bit Rogue. 2-Bit Rogue was what I piloted to D5. I hadn't hit Standard Legend in just a few months, it happens. And so, with the 9X climb, that getting to D5 is a little bit more of a slog. And
It is.
yeah, Jade Guardians kind of, I'm not going to say carried me there because, you still have to learn the play patterns and, you have to get good at the deck, but it kind of carried me there because it was really good. And afterwards I was like,
there were some crazy, like you could get 0 mana green rags. I saw it's like
uh-huh.
double. I mean, I saw a Requiem short where like he's got like 30 health and somebody drops like an unnerved monkey and then somebody plays Jade Guardians or like preps Jade Guardians and plays 2 green rads and hero powers and hits face. And he's like, devs, what are we doing, devs? What are you guys doing? Like he's like, it's just like losing his mind. Sort of uncharacteristically, Requiem is actually like usually a pretty cool cucumber. Which was part of what made it so funny was like he's like losing his chill, and it's just like, man, even he's losing his chill at this. So I get why it got nerfed. It just has no impact for us.
Mm-hmm. On the standard side, I tried to keep on jamming that deck, making a few changes, but still, Jade Guardians is the whatever that stirs the drink.
Straw that stirs the drink. Yes.
Thank you. It wasn't very good, so I stopped playing that one.
Fair.
So all of those cards, of course, are eligible for a dust refund for 2 weeks following patch 36.2.2. And this is your general reminder that if you search your collection for refund, then you'll be able to find everything that you can get a full refund on. So just a handy reminder. On the buff side, the dev comment, our focus was primarily on underperforming decks and classes that have struggled to keep pace with the current format, rather than relying entirely on straightforward stat increases. Many of these changes reshape cards to better support the strategies they're meant to enable. In some instances, the mana cost of cards increased so that we could significantly increase the overall power of the card's effect. As with any patch intended to significantly shake up the metagame, there's always some uncertainty about where things will ultimately land. We'll be paying especially close attention to how the format develops after these changes go live. The next major update will be the release of class sets. We'll talk about those soon. Followed by another scheduled balance patch, giving us additional opportunities to make adjustments as the meta continues to evolve. We're looking forward to seeing what new decks emerge and hearing your feedback along the way. So the first buff, this is a big one. Big one. That is to Aya Lotus Kingpin. That's the 6 mana 6/3 rogue legendary. You always go second. Battle Cry. Pick an upgraded counterfeit coin to replace your coins this game. The pre-buff version, you get 2. The post-buff version, you get 3. So you get an extra coin.
Have you seen the stats on her mulligan on HS Guru?
No.
All right, this was this morning. Gamer Moment posted mulligan impact 10.1. 10.1% in the mulligan. Over a 2,244 game sample size. So not a small little eensy-weensy sample size, like a kind of a crazy one. Tanyaverse posted again in my Discord a similar thing. So, like, yeah, it was up to 10.2 with slightly like 300 more sample sizes and a 4.5 draw impact. So, like, she's cracked. Absolutely cracked. Think about it in this scenario for those of you at home who are like, how is a 6 mana card cracked in the mulligan? You're always going second, so you always have the coin.
Mm-hmm.
And so really you're playing her on turn 5, and there's many commonly run cards in Rogue right now that generate more coins, right, Sheep?
Absolutely. Tons of them. The 2-mana 2/2 death rattle one, the agent one that turns one of your other cards into a coin. You can easily generate one or multiple coins by turn 3 or 4.
So now you're talking about like, okay, so, every additional coin ends up speeding up how quickly she gets down, and all of a sudden she turns from a 6-mana 6/3 to a 4. It's like a 4-mana 6/3, but also like you're cheating mana because like you're getting the mana back and you're also getting value for it. Like it's just kind of like I can see her spiraling kind of crazy. So this buff might be another one that bites him in the butt a little bit, as far as like maybe they pushed it too far.
And a notable current interaction is that Shadow of Demise currently, if you choose the Kazakus potion, and you play like one Kazakus potion and then another one, visually it'll still look like the first one. Engineering has actually looked at this, and it's apparently just a visual thing. So like, if you play it, it'll be your most recent one, but it is showing you just the first one. It's not updating in between them. So that's something that should be fixed in a coming patch, I'm sure, but something that's actually noteworthy to
yeah,
pay
for sure.
attention
No,
to.
for sure. It's real.
Mm-hmm. Moving on then to Blazing Invocation. That is, of course, the Shaman spell. It's in core right now. We've played it for ages. Used to be discover a Battlecry minion, 1 mana. Now it's discover a Battlecry minion. It costs 1 less. They had nerfed it before because of Mug Shaman, and with Mug now, being completely killed, the giving it the
It can
discount
live again.
is back. Yeah.
Yes. Didn't this get buffed because of Twist? Wasn't this buffed because of Twist? And then like it used to just be discover a Battlecry minion, and then I think they buffed it because of Twist to do like a little bit of for reasons, who knows. And so then they technically just reverted it to the original form, and now they're back to buffing it again. So like I don't know. This is a lot to do about Blazing Invocation. It's just not remotely doing anything in our format, so I don't want to harp on it, but just yeah. There's a lot of fuss over Blazing Invocation.
Yeah, in our format, the Battlecry minion pool is so
Massive.
deep.
Massive. You
Yeah.
can get anything.
Absolutely anything.
It's not the good random. It's not like the good random that like Mage has, where you're spending 1 mana and then you're getting something 1 to 3 mana, and like 1 to 3 mana spells in Mage are always freaking good, so you can always find something to do. This is not self-selecting from a very small pool. You are jumping in the deep end of every Garbo thing that could possibly pop out in Wild.
Mm-hmm. Moving on then to Soul Immolation. Used to be 3 mana, is now 2 mana. It's one of the Demon Hunter spells. It's a shadow spell. It reads, your hero power becomes Collapsing Star. If it already is, increase its damage by 1. So Collapsing Star would do 1 or 2 damage to a random enemy. Essentially, you're basically what it's called on like HS Guru and things like that is Raza Demon Hunter, which I find really amusing because most of the standard players probably don't know what that means, but it of course makes us laugh.
I think it's Pace's fault. I think Pace coined it as Raza DH.
Excellent.
And so Pace, being one of the people who has straddled both Wild and Standard at a high level for a long enough time and is a DH main and Wizard and Standard, I think he kind of like sent out, I think he sent out one of the early lists or got one of the early lists posted. It's really been described to me by Cantaloupe as 22, 24 tech cards, and then the combo pieces for the OTK. There's a lot of tradable, which is very funny because there's a minion in standard that prints a demon, summons a demon whenever a card is drawn. And of course, every time you use your hero power, well, La Cucaracha, what's the roach's real name?
Oh, I don't actually know. I always call it the roach or cucaracha, but
The roach, all right? So the roach, right? Your hero power costs 1 mana, but the roach refreshes 2 mana. So you literally have infinite damage. You can clear the entire board, and you can get as many pings face as you want to. Everlasting roach, thank you. So, like, you look at the tradables, and you look at the is it everlasting? Who knows? Who knows? Doesn't really matter. It's an infinite damage OTK. It does take some work getting there. It is frustrating to play against because it's like Glacial Shard, Viper, Speaker Stomper. It's basically like they're like treading water. Then all right, I can win the game now. So
boom,
I
boom,
don't
boom,
know.
boom, boom.
It's not a popular play pattern, which means I should probably learn it and master it and hit Standard Legend for the first time in years. Enduring Roach. All right, there we go.
Excellent. The next buff kind of feels like a nerf for our format, and that is to Irida Sendseeker. Old battle cry, send your deck to the void. At the start of your turns, get 2 cards from the void. And now the new one is battle cry, send your deck into the void, except 1 card. At the start of your turns, get 2 cards from the void. Still a 4 mana 7/7. I mean, I say that I feel like this is kind of a nerf because we were like doing Arana things with Irida, but I was really just speaking in jest. I mean, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can Arana. I think the place that I've only seen her being used is Reno DH. And it's a really fun Reno DH that Purrs has successfully had successfully taken up into like the top 100. So like it's not like anything to laugh at. One of the big problems that like Reno DH or Pirate DH have is card advantage. I heard somebody float to me yesterday that like she might have some application in Pirate DH. I could kind of see that. Especially with the 1 card staying in deck, you could do something cute, like you could throw down your Patches the Pilot post Irida and make sure that you get not all of your parachutes mathematically, but like some of them. Or you could just drop Irida and then be like, all right, I'm getting all my pilots next turn. Time to send out my cannons and see if you can clear my cannons. But Pirate DH and Reno DH both struggle from card advantage. And this is a great way to get through the card advantage. The advantage we have in our format, of course, is with Arana, we can weaponize the fatigues. The fatigue didn't bother us the same way I guess it was a bother in Standard. So, I don't know. Great buff because I love the card. It's been buffed twice now.
Well, one thing I think is really interesting is like the whole package around it, which nobody plays in Standard, at least competitively, is like all the other cards are like, if your deck is empty, then do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, now I can't just Irida and that I have to Irida, wait a turn, and then do that. So it's kind of funny that kind of combo is delayed a little bit.
What's worth noting too, that is meta relevant, is Irida is a great way to insulate yourself against Thief Priest. You were still drawing your cards from the void, but the opponent couldn't steal copies of your cards and then steal them from the void. In the void, they were kind of locked away and safe. So if you really hate Thief Priest, Reno DH was excellent. Can confirm, excellent at farming it. Because they just, like, they had to steal stuff from your hand. They had to steal copies from your hand and do something with it. Because they were never getting anything from your deck. Like, the Pregnant Pause, when they would play something like, what's one of the 3 manas, like, choose 2, whether it's the one that draws one of your cards and then one from your opponent's deck, or picks one from your opponent's hand and the opponent's deck. Yeah, I think Identity Crisis, right? So they'd, like, cast it, and they'd pick one thing, and then they just sort of wait. Because their card stopped working, and it's like, no, your card didn't stop working. Your card resolved. Your card's done doing what it does. There's nothing to pull from. All my stuff's in the void. Like, so those were fun.
So if you hate Thief Priest, I have a 4-mana 7/7 for you.
Yeah, no, Purrs was literally calling it I win on 4. And I did a video like playing a version of it, and I was like, oh, it's true. It feels awesome. It feels awesome. Again, it's not as Reno decks are not in the greatest spot right now, but like this was functional. You could hit Legend with it for sure.
Mm-hmm. Next up is Hellraiser. Hellraiser is a 3-mana 2/2 battle cry. Discover a card in your deck. If it's empty, gain +4/+4 instead. And now, post buff, it has taunt.
Okay.
This is one of the cards that I was like, oh yeah, you can no longer just like 4-mana 7/7 and Hellraiser. I mean, I guess you can, but you don't get the 4/4 immediately. Yeah, it's a lot of those synergies kind of rely on that.
Yeah. Okay. Like great.
Nobody was playing them anyway, so yeah.
No. All right. Well, that's nice.
Uh-huh. Ooh, next up is Crowd Control. Used to be 3 mana. Deal 2 damage to all minions. If you have 25 or more cards in your deck, deal 2 more. Now it's 5 mana. Deal 2 damage to all minions twice. If you have 25 or more cards in your deck, this costs 2 less. So it kind of scales like price-wise, but it doesn't scale effect-wise. So it's always that 2 damage and then 2 damage again. It just, you can either play it early for cheap or later for more.
It's a pretty extreme almost rework from the team, but I like it. It does make the card feel a lot better. There were times where it's like, all right, this is a 3-mana deal 2 late in the game. Not really worth it. But making it 5 mana baseline, but reduced with the 25 cards in your deck, not only did it feel good that you could play it early because you were taking advantage of your Hogger or your Degenerate Greedlord tendencies and shuffling too many extra cards into your deck. Not only are you rewarded for that, but also you don't feel like you're hosed later in the game when you draw it and you have the mana to spend. So like I thought it was fine. I was already playing this card in my 100 Armor Warrior. I would happily play this card still in this form in my 100 Armor Warrior, and even better, it's in a better form now, I think, on balance. It's a rework. It feels almost like a side grade, but I think it's definitely a buff.
Hard agree to all of the above. Still don't see this in standard, and that is not a complaint because running against a control warrior would be miserable.
It's kind of nasty because there is some divine shields in Wild right now, right? Like mech paladins running around making little bubbles. So like getting rid of all the bubbles and then wiping out the board because they really haven't buffed the board yet, right? Like the bubble bot turn typically means you got a bunch of 2/1s and 1/2s and like little bodies with taunt and bubbles on them. Crowd control right now is like just kind of like Aftershocks where it just doesn't care about the bubble. It's just eradicating things. It's Aftershock 5 and 6. Oh, sorry. It's Aftershocks number 3 and 4, which is a pretty good place to be. With a higher breakpoint.
Yeah, buddy. Next up is Volcanos.
Yes.
Volcanos. Old, at the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to all other minions. It's also a colossal. So the appendages were 1/4s. Now it deals 3 damage to all other minions, went up by 1. And the appendages went from 1/4s up to 1/5s.
Apparently this card's broken. Apparently this card's broken and there's no home for it. It's really good and there's no home for it. We don't play it in Wild because it's not good in Wild. The Elemental Mage that is circulating out there is kind of a board-based combat deck with a little bit of reach, and this blows up boards, so no.
Right.
The current Reno mages are kind of playing yellow cards and then working on mostly the Discover quest. So I think kind of like standard, the Discover quest is too good, and so we're focusing on that and not stuff that would run Volcanos.
Mm-hmm.
Cool card. Probably giga broken in arena. I'm imagining this thing's probably absolutely cracked. That's about as close to wild as you're probably going to see it, though.
Yeah. And those appendages, whenever they take damage, you get a random fire spell and it costs 3 less. So basically, you play a 7-drop, it deals 3 AoE, and you get 2 fire spells that are then discounted. Like, yeah. Yeah.
-3 is a lot of mana. -3 is a lot of mana, especially when the pool is small. Like, I love, again, going back to elementals and mage, going back to like playing Inferno Herald. One of my favorite parts about playing Inferno Herald is the fact that the -3 mana means you get to play you get to play 6 mana Blood of Cahoon, which you can cheat out for 4 mana if you have a spell in your hand. You can play 1 mana Lava Gorger. Like, -3 mana is a lot of mana, especially when you know you're going to get something that's at least okay and sometimes the absolute nuts. I don't know how good the fire spell pool is in Standard. So, like, this, I could see this possibly being, not great, but at the same time, sometimes, right, like chat says, sometimes it's a 4 mana flame strike. So, like, I don't. I don't know how mage usually has some pretty decent pools, but I think this is all fire spells, right? So some of the warlock ones are in there too, the ones that kill your own stuff. Probably not great, but also, like, I don't know. I could see it also being decent situationally.
Mm-hmm. Mage got another buff, and that was to Trixie Improviser. Used to be a 4 mana 4/4. If you've cast a spell this turn, cast a random mage secret. It's now a 5 mana 4/3, so more expensive and 1 less health. But if you've cast a spell this turn, cast 2 random mage secrets, and you can also prepare this. So the fact that it got a little more expensive, you can also prepare it, so it can be a little cheaper. I've seen this in standard, but I don't think that we're touching this with a 10-foot pole in wild.
If Secret Mage were still a deck, I could see it, because it helps you get what is it? A contract construct, or so whatever the lawyer Worgen. It's a 6 mana 6/6, but it costs 3 less for each spell in play. So what the play you could do would be prepare Trixie Improviser on 1, because you're Secret Mage. Odds are you're not playing anything on 1. Like, maybe you get Cabal
Unless
Lackey.
You luck out into a Costume Singer.
Yeah,
right?
Maybe a Costume Singer, maybe you get Cabal Lackey, but like Cabal Lackey doesn't work anymore. You get my point. Like, okay, so you prepare, and then on turn 2, you prep, you send down the Informant, so that your next secret costs 3. Turn 3, since the improvised Trixie Improviser costs 3, you can play a 0 mana secret, trigger this effect, and have 3 secrets up, and then start dropping 6/6s. Now that's like a crazy high roll scenario. I wasn't impressed by this card very much in Arena. So, like, without Secret Mage being actually like a real thing that people are unironically trying to do, which you could sort of do when Holy Wrath was around, even post Cabal Lackey nerf, because that deck folded so hard to that kind of disruption. I just don't see it for our format.
Next up, the really, really fun card. We played this so much in Theory Crafting. It was a blast. That is Staff of Trickery. Used to be a 1/3 weapon, now a 1/4 weapon. 4 mana.
Yeah.
Of course, after your hero attacks, discover a druid card and reduce its cost by your hero's attack.
Copper loves this card. He's been trying to recook Questline Druid, and I remember him saying, he's like, this card is broken. You guys are all idiots for doubting it. And I'm like, whoa.
hold up.
I was a
We
believer.
didn't
We were
doubt.
believers from day one. We were like, man, this is kind of kicking butt in standard, man. This is probably fine and wild, like not embarrassing. Like it looks like a card, like one of those things where it's like, oh man, like random druid card, this is gonna suck. But that mana cheat thing, like it's not hard to gain attack to make anything you're looking at free. There's a lot of druid cards that you look at and you're like, well, I don't have to pay anything for it. Yeah, it's okay. It's like make a couple of poisonous spiders. For nothing. Tempo,
All right.
sure. Yeah, let's go. Right, like that, and that's one of the low rolls, right? You have some absolute, what crazy spells that you can pick from in the wild pool that are much better. So yeah, this seems like a buff to what was already, I think, a good card, which is a little bit spooky.
Yeah, agreed on all counts. I feel like this is one of the, how sometimes they do like buffs to be like, this is kind of underplayed. Like y'all should really look at this. I feel like this is one of those buffs.
Also, I hope this buff sticks. Like if it's too good for standard, I hope when they rotate it, they just put this back on there. Because like again, this is not a card that's gonna ever terrorize our format ever in a million years. So just leave it good. And that's fine, which I have hopes that they will do because they've already like rotated stuff at a buff state that it wasn't even that way in standard. So like there's hope for that at least.
Yeah, buddy. Well, Attack Druid in standard got another buff, and that was to Infest the Scullery. Used to be a 4-mana card that read, summon a random 4-cost minion improved by your hero attacks this game. It's now a 5-mana spell that reads, summon 2 random 3-cost minions improved by your hero attacks this game.
Oh, this could be some tempo in turn 5, eh? Especially if you get the broken. Spiderling is also up there. I don't think Spiderling has as good a stats as Aya, but Spiderling is up there as far as a mulligan outlier, which is where it should be because the card's cracked. The card is cracked. So good. It's one of the best 1-drops ever made ever. And it's like, just because it doesn't have a home, I think Spiderling sees a little bit of play in Wild. People are still kind of hooked on like, well, I want to make sure I get my cool cats. I don't know. Spiderling is pretty good, even in Hero Power Mage. Just being able to just trade into little 1/1s if you need to, just to slow the tempo down does help. This seems like a huge stat drop, though. Like, wow. Like, by turn 5, what on average? On average, what are these? 7 drops? 8 drops? 6 drops?
Something like that. They're big.
They're big. That's a lot for 5 mana. That's a lot.
For some reason, Attack Druid has seen an increase in play rate and win rate since these buffs. Who'd have thought?
Who could have foreseen this? Well, listen, that's what they were supposed to do, right? They wanted to push it a little bit, so they pushed it a little bit. That's fine.
It's okay to have good decks. That was not an indictment, right?
No. Yeah, well, I think that's. Listen, I've dipped my toe a little bit more into other standard. Discords just to kind of get a little bit more of a temperature, because again, I live more of a sheltered wild life, and I don't always see the standard perspective. And there are even some standard players that have been a little bit like, they're like, the buffs seem random and they don't make sense to us, and also like we don't really like the nerfs, but there's a lot of nerfs, and like now it's all old. Well, the whole dialogue now is like, well, now it's all a bunch of old decks. It's like, it almost feels like the expansion was erased a little bit because of how much the new cards had to get paired back. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a little touch and go, a little rough right now.
True. That was the end of the constructed changes. We've got the Battlegrounds changes, which we don't talk about on this one. If you want to check out some Battlegrounds coverage, check out Blizzlet. Next up, they announced the class sets.
They did.
Called Azeroth's Most Wanted, introduces new class strategy. So the rule breakers broke out, and there's stuff for Rogue. There's stuff for priest. There's stuff for warlock, and there's stuff for warrior.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just kind of gonna like overview their like intro,
Sure.
and then we'll go into a deeper dive of the cards for all of them in rapid succession. So these outlaw origin stories act as a prequel to Escape from the Violet Hold, with 4 outlaws looking back on the schemes, betrayals, ghost hunts, that's random, and sieges that landed them behind bars in the first place.
Sure.
Each class set features 7 cohesive cards that tell the story of an outlaw and their pursuer. You'll infiltrate criminal organizations, rig a trial, chase a ghost through the Witchwood. There we go. There's the ghost thing. And storm Shadowfang Keep. Together, the 4 class sets include 28 unique cards. Get all 4 sets in a bundle and you'll receive a bonus epic neutral card, bringing the total to 29 unique cards. We'll start with Priest because we're just gonna dive in on.
Okay, so I think the cards that we're probably going to pay attention to in Wild, from the Priest, the first one that I think is probably most important is a 4-mana shadow spell in Slime. Destroy all minions. Each player gets a 3-cost spell that resummons theirs. Not only is this like a sort of a blanket, let's just like get rid of everything in Priest, it's also a shadow spell. It's also on turn 7, kind of like tempo flipping, like you're destroying everything and then you have enough mana to immediately cast the 3-cost spell that you just generated. So like your board is back before with the summoning sickness before the opponent's board is back. Like I could see this really like I could see this kind of like in a way it's not crazy. If you told me that like Priest is going to dominate Arena for a while because Slimeum is coming up too often, that wouldn't shock me, right? Like that's the kind of thing where if you're at least even on board and then all of a sudden you're sliming them and then now you're better than even because you can do things when the opponent can't. That looks wild relevant. It's also Shadow. Like we could play with Benny. This is definitely going to see play in my mind. If you're going to play any clears, this is like one of the best ones you could possibly do. How many times over the years have we been like 1 mana away from casting Mass Hysteria to clear a board? This is better than Mass Hysteria. So
Absolutely agreed. And on the standard side, like that, I think we're just going to see so many soothsayers. And so many soothsayers because like it going away heals your face for 6 and gets you a 5-drop, 6-drop, something like that.
Yeah, something huge, right?
And then you just play Ectoplasm and then you get your Soothsayer back and then do it all over again. So that's I'm not looking forward to that part, but that's what's gonna happen. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. So that's a nasty card. I'm not super convinced about anything else that Priest really has to offer. I will say they do have Sinful Steed, which is a 3-mana 2/3 undead beast with Reborn. This is Reborn with full health and enchantments. So like I thought like, man, if we were still playing Divine Spirit the way we were playing it like 2, 3, 4 years ago, and you kind of drop Sinful Steed down and you can't kill it because like it has Reborn and then comes back alive with full health. Like, ew. And if you happen to throw a couple Power Word Shields on it and the opponent still manages to kill it, well, it's just going to come back with the Power Word Shields on it right back to full health. So, ew. So, like, watching someone like Corbett tempoing Crab Riders and just sort of tempoing threats and watching the opponent remove them, this is a really sticky threat. I think the meta's probably moved on from doing something like that with the Sinful Steed. We can just play Protoss Priest and just create charge tokens and buff those up and kill the opponent. But I thought that was at least interesting and worth a note that, like, hey, this could have been, like, really broken at one point. I don't know. Anything stand out to you with that?
The horsey looks so angry.
It is an angry horse. It is an evil and intimidating horse. That is true. That is true.
Look kind of like Lucifer.
If you're right, we're invoking the art. There's not a lot here, is there? All right, let's
No.
Follow the Ghosts also was intriguing to me, just because we're in a format where we can make priest cards cost 0 fairly easily. So summoning a 2/2 Ghost with Reborn, it's a 2-mana shadow spell. Okay, notice shadow spell. Summon a 2/1 Ghost with Reborn. Give a playable card in your hand this effect for a turn. It's not crazy to do stuff where you make a bunch of priest cards cost 0. You cast Follow the Ghosts, and now you have like a big board of stuff that has Reborn, is really sticky. I could see it. Is it a moment? It's like, look what they have to do to mimic a fraction of our power, and it's a Shadow Priest Pirate opener to like the Follow the Ghosts people trying desperately to like tempo out wisps and stuff. Yeah, it's probably not going to be anything, but just it was an effect that was strong enough and intriguing enough. I couldn't just say like, oh no, like there's no way that this couldn't like. I could see myself end up casting this, randomly generating it, not hating it. Let's put it that way.
I mean, we've got Void Touched Attendant, so all of a sudden, if we've got a lot of these sticky 2/1s, then there's suddenly a threat.
I'll probably end up like discovering it and casting it unironically on a setup turn when I'm playing Reach Equilibrium Priest, right? Like that wouldn't shock me to like get a little. I'm like, all right, I ran into Grave Horrors. One, I make a bunch of these little ghost guys and get my 5/5s down. All right, cool. With the priestesses, great, break. Now, like before you know it, you're showing like 25 damage. So,
yeah, buddy.
That's it for priest for me. I didn't think anything else really stood out. It's nice that all the spells were shadow spells, even Haunt, 3 mana, give a minion +2/+3, Reborn and Taunt. We have Mark of the whatever. That's 2 mana that does a similar effect that doesn't see play in Wild. It's just this is not good enough. This is not good enough. But it'll be nice to randomly generate it. That's fine.
Yeah. I feel like just the Reborn spell we would probably run over this because like the Reborn is, I feel like the best part of that. But
correct, and we could just give a minion Reborn for 0 mana. Or whatever it is, right? Like, isn't it a 0 mana spell, or there's a 1 mana spell? Like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, all right,
sure,
here
0.
You go. Yeah.
So Rogue is a little shady this go around, quite stealthy. Where do we want to lead off with Rogue?
Let's start with Disguised Operator. Disguised Operator is a 1 mana for 2, can be played on either side. Rush, Death Rattle, give your opponent draws 2 cards. I see this as the opportunity to play some form of Mill Rogue.
Yes.
Or you could just play it offensively. Or you could, like, play it and then kill it quickly for cycle, if that's what your deck does really easily. Like, there's just, like, it's a... How many times over the years have we complained, oh, well, I mean, you do prep Bone Spike, but then you need your opponent to play something for the Bone Spike. Well, no, here's something for the Bone Spike. Throw it over there for the opponent and prep Bone Spike, boom, go away. Do your thing. So, like, I think Disguised Operator is going to be... It's the kind of card I could see Dane absolutely abusing and trashing and finding a way to do something with it. That's, I think, the first most interesting thing that Rogue has going on, but there is other stuff that is WoW exclusive.
Yeah. I feel like in Standard, this one's probably not going to be like super great. I'm much more excited about it with, as soon as you said Mill Rogue, like, I know that deck is not good, but I have a lot of fun with it every time I play it, and perfect Mill Rogue fodder.
You're doing like Baron's Trapper, Sonya, like like maybe even Umbra. Like I just like they're coming up. You see Rogue Chord and they are cooking it. Okay. Matthias Shaw is, I think, one to keep an eye on that I know Rogue Court is kind of like, we don't really have a payoff that we want, but he has stealth. He's a 4-mana 4/4. He has stealth. Whenever a friendly stealth minion attacks, reduce the cost of a random card in your hand by 3. Now, you might initially look at the minion pool and say, well, Schmoopy, your average stealth minion sucks. Why is this a good idea? This doesn't seem like a good idea. Well, it's a stealth minion. That doesn't mean that it has to have a stealth keyword. I'm assuming if you cast something like, I don't know, Conceal, which is a 1-mana rogue card that gives all your minions stealth, I imagine if you use that and then go attack, it's going to also count. So do we play this as like part of top end in a pirate deck where you get like, play a bunch of pirates and then you also run a Conceal and you run like a Matthias Shaw and you run like an Ashamain or something like that as your top end so that like, here's my big pirate board, drop Matthias, drop Conceal, everything attacks, 0-mana Ashamain, let's drop that. Okay. Like the rogue people don't think it's there yet, but it's not, it's enough mana and it's an easy enough condition to like figure out how to proc. It's not crazy that this card could see some play at least.
I can vibe with that.
Yeah. Red Herring. Well, yeah, Red Herring's 7 mana though, right? Like, but like, yes, you could totally do that, and you could have some crazy blowout turns in Arena. Sure, Red Herring's cracked there. The other cards that people are just excited over is like the SI7 support. Like, will it be good? No. But like these aren't like terrible. So like we have the 2-mana 1/3 SI Supplier Stealth. After this attacks, draw a card. Okay, yeah, we're not lighting the world on fire, but like SI7 really struggled in Wild from my recollection with draw options. And so, we have things that need to die in order to draw, or we have like things that would like, you could run some stealth minions doing the same things, but like, hey, makes questline progress. Hey, we're going to play this because you can only play that in Wild. And it has stealth, so it could sit there until you have some sort of payoff like Cold Blood to kind of cash in, right? The other stealth minion that was printed was the 3-mana 1/2 SI Slayer that has stealth, and whenever a friendly stealth minion attacks, give it +2/+2. So it's like a Crusader aura for stealth things. Again, you might say Schmoopy, but there are no stealth things. Well, that's where Conceal comes in. So what do you think about the 2 SI7 package friends coming back?
I mean, I hadn't considered Questline Rogue, and I don't think that this will make that like suddenly a good deck, but I think this will make that a deck that I can play more of, and it has I like playing fun decks. You know this about me. Like this is not a surprise, right? And this gives me another reason to sniff at that deck and play around with it. I'm excited about that.
I think I am too. This mini set actually gives me like a lot of like, ooh, yay! I get to cook vibes. I think I'm going to cook a lot more the second half of this expansion, since this expansion's had a lot of really fun new cards and new ways to build things. All right, you ready for Warlock?
Yeah, let's lock some wars.
Okay, so Warlock, we have to start with Kazakus. The way Kazakus works, Godfather Kazakus, is you drop him down, you choose 2 effects, and then you choose last how easy it's going to be to cast those effects. So here are the effects. Let's start with that. You can take control of a random enemy minion. You can draw 3 cards. Remember, you can pick 2 of these, so any combination of 2 of these. You can summon 3 random 3-cost minions. You could force each minion to attack another minion. You could reduce the cost of minions in your hand by 2. You could steal 2 cards from the opponent's hand. You could give minions in your hand in battlefield +3/+3. You could restore 12 health to your hero, or you could summon a Void Lord. So those are your options, and I think a lot of those effects are pretty strong. Sheep.
Yeah. Anytime I get to discover Kazakus style, I mean, this is Godfather Kazakis. I mean, the flavor's there. Like this is just an offer you can't refuse.
And like I'm seeing some good aggro options with like summon 3 random minions that cost +3/+3, and then buffing like your minions in your battlefield in hand +3/+3. That's pretty solid. I'm seeing great like mostly anti-aggro, like restoring 12 health to your hero and summoning a Void Lord, or making everything attack each other. Like, it's just like there are going to be these are powerful effects, and it's going to be skill testing to then pick the next stage, which is, okay, you've picked your 2 effects. So now that you've picked your 2 effects, when do you want the effects to happen? If you want them to happen right away, you need to pick the 7 mana option. So you're going to have to cast the card, the Rush Trial, for 7 mana.
Mm-hmm.
The 4 mana option is a Grueling Trial. The trial finishes at the start of your next turn. So you could do Godfather Kazakis 3, Grueling Trial on 4. Effects will take place on turn 5, as I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The last option is an Unending Trial. The trial finishes in 4 turns. So you could play Godfather Kazakis. You could pick your trial. You could be very confident that you know how the matchup is going to play out. You rip this on the same turn that you have played Godfather Kazakis, and you know that at the start of turn 7, that is when all hell is going to break loose.
I can't imagine ever playing the Unending Trial, but you know what? It being free, I feel like I'm gonna eat some crow on that one. So I'm still saying I can't imagine we're gonna play that one, but I'm fully prepared to be wrong.
I mean, plus 12 health and a Void Daddy on turn 7 against most aggro right now kind of ends it. Now you could say, well, Schmoopy, shouldn't you have won the game by then anyway if it's against an aggro deck? Like, shouldn't it be very clear who's winning and who's losing by the time that finally goes there? Yeah, maybe that's true, but like still, it's a lot of stats at the end, and that's like not even thinking, like we're not even considering either, like what if you just like have that board and that board buff as just like, you're going to be sending wave after wave and you're the beatdown. And so you're going to be, want a board to pop up and on turn 7. And you know what? If anything's still alive on your board, it's going to get +3/+3. So you sort of play the game towards that. There's going to be a lot of skill testing with this card.
Mm-hmm. I feel like this is one that we're going to have to get some like reps with to find out the best way to play it. But anytime we can Kazakis like discover powerful effects like this, like it's usually good.
Yeah, I think this card's kind of good. I think this card is going to be, unfortunately, a nerf target not long after it comes out, because God forbid Standard has good cards. Well, you know what? Warlock is so bad it might not actually matter. I think Warlock will be a playable class on the back of this card, and people will be so sick of it that they'll eventually get him nerfed, which is going to be a sad day.
Since the buffs and nerfs, I've run into so many Warlocks, and it is very, very. It's not a fun deck to play against because they get their Ultra Gigasaurs with lifesteal out, or the 6/12 that deals the 5 damage, and of course it has lifesteal because of the it's not miserable fun to play against. So yeah,
I hate playing against big decks too. Like but yeah. The only other card I think that looks like it has any hope in Wilds, outside of like memes like trying to bring back Imp Warlock, is Harsh Sentence. It's a 2 mana typeless spell. Enemy minions cost 2 more next turn. Put 2 3/3 Informants into the enemy deck. Reminder that Informants are new tokens for this mini set. They are 3 mana 3/3 Imps. That means that they have the demon tag, but they will be brought back by Imp King Rafam, and they have lifesteal. So that is, they have one additional keyword on top of that. Like not a bad minion at all. I think what's cute about this is it's the kind of tech card that TikTok Warlock players are going to put into their deck on purpose. Is it really good? Not really. Is it annoying situationally? Yes. Not only that, as like a side bonus, if you hate Reno decks, you run this in your deck and it's just 2-mana tech to turn off their OG dupes Reno Carrier Enjoyer cards. So it's you just see it's doing enough that it's like, people are gonna try it. It's gonna be a bad card probably, but people are gonna try it.
And of all of the Warlock imp format kind of things, agreed. Harsh Sentence is the best because it's that disruption. The enemy minions cost 2 more next turn, as well as the shuffling in the imp format. So totally agree that if one sees play, maybe not even playing an overall imp deck, I can still see Harsh Sentence seeing play, at least in standard. Maybe in our format, like you said, TikTok Warlock. This is something that TikTok Warlock enjoyers are gonna play for sure.
It's great big shaman tech, right? Because you're putting the minions into the deck that the Monk Morpher can then turn into that don't have Mega Wind Fury or extra hands or I don't know, are an unkillable horse that summons itself from the deck. But also it's taxing the Muck Morphers in the turn they come down. So this, I could see people being like, well, I hate Big Shaman. I'm going to run Harsh Sentence just because I hate Big Shaman. That kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Let the hate flow through you.
Yeah. Everything else I'm pretty sure sucks. So we can move on to the last class, which I know you're most excited about. And I'm kind of most excited about too.
That's Warrior. And I imagine we'll probably start out talking about the Cannoneers, because that's kind of what most of these ones are revolving around. And that's the tokens. The 1-mana 1/1 pirates. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. There are lots of things that create more of these or buff these, or pirates in general, which is what I'm most excited about for our format.
Yeah, I really like these tokens. I said, well, maybe they're the best tokens ever created. Maybe they're not, because we have the pirates with charge for DH. These are a close second, though. The fact that they could, in theory, trade for free into other pirate aggro that tends to have a bunch of 1 and 2 health breakpoints as far as health goes. You could see pirate rogue versus pirate warrior getting decided by a couple of cannoneer shots. And we've got some cool cards that end up summoning them and buffing them or taking advantage of them too. So let's start with let's start with the one that gets everybody excited. Let's talk about the 2-mana 2/3 pirate Blast Powder Engineer, which reads, on your turn, friendly pirates deal 1 more damage. At first, people are saying, oh, look, it's worse, Void Touched Attendant. It's like, no, it's actually probably better Void Touched Attendant, because it's what friendly pirates are doing, and it's only your turn. And it's not just face damage, it's trades too. It's damage they produce. It's everything.
Cannoneer shots.
Yeah, if Pirate Warrior is going to come back, it's going to come back because of a card like this pushing it that far. I don't know. What's your sense, Sheep, as far as a card like Blast Powder Engineer and what it brings to one of our decks?
I feel like it's cheaper, thus more versatile, like South Sea Captain, right? South Sea Captain also buffs the health, which allows better trades. But if we're doing Cannoneer things, which I feel like in our format, we're also going to do at least
100%.
Sniff at it, right?
Yes.
So then we're getting the attacks with those getting buffed, which the South Sea Captain wouldn't do. It's cheaper than South Sea Captain. So I more versatile, cheaper, but just a kind of a slightly different play pattern. So I think it's going to be good. I'm going to play it. In our format, definitely. In standard, absolutely. I, I'm excited to play Pirate Warrior again. Yahar.
Yahar. We've also got Cannon Master, which is a 1-mana 3/1 Draenei Pirate. Battlecry, get a 1/1 Cannoneer that deals 1 damage to a random enemy at the end of the turn. So the Cannoneer goes to hand. It is not summoned on board. I made that mistake in my review a couple days ago. I play Wild. I can only read so well. That actually kind of is a buff if you're choosing to go the questline version, right? Because now it's like, okay, it's 1 mana.
Which I'm going to do.
It's 2 mana for 2 1/1s, but it's printing a 1/1 that can help, seal up your curve. And it's a decent one in Cannoneer. So like that seems intriguing to me. Kind of feels like Fillet Fighter a little bit, right? Like when that was like, we can kind of handle Fillet Fighter now, but like just like the amount of sheer damage it's pushing is interesting to me. The next card I probably rate is probably, it's a bit of a drop off from there. I would say probably Captain Crowley, because I think I'm going to have 2 of them in my deck because I'm going to run Hogger, obviously, in my Pirate Warrior because Hogger's awesome. Captain Crowley.
You want 2 patches.
It's true. Is a 5 mana 4/5. Your Cannoneers and a Pirate. Your Cannoneers fire an additional shot. Battlecry, summon 2 1/1 Cannoneers. So he's basically summoning 6 attack and 7 health functionally. And functionally against an empty board, he has charge because he's sending 2 damage face as long as you produce the 2 Cannoneers. Like there's just, I really like, I think he's doing a lot.
4 damage face even, because
4 damage face, that's what I mean.
Dealing 2. Yeah,
so it's like it's like he has charge, right? And I think that's part of what I like about the Cannoneers. It's like, okay, let's say I'm playing Hostage Mage and I'm using Frost Nova to buy myself a turn. The Cannoneers are still hitting me, right? I probably don't have a lot of a board presence where that are going to be soaking up the cannon shots. That's stuff that's going to go face. There are a lot of situations where I feel like the Cannoneers are going to be kind of crucial. So the things that end up producing them are definitely getting a look-see for me.
Absolutely agreed. I think the only other one that is less of a drop-off than some of the others is the Hook and Heave.
That was one that I was looking at. Yeah. Describe it.
Yeah, so that one, you discover a pirate. It's 2 mana, no spell type. And you summon 2 1/1 Cannoneers. So you get 2 of those Cannoneers that do the shooty McBang bang things that we were just talking about. You discover a pirate. That's a pretty wide pool, but narrow enough that it's, you're still probably going to find something that you want. And of course, it's pirate, which is what the whole deck is revolving around. So, you're really playing this primarily for the 2 1/1 Cannoneers, but then you're also getting value from it too. So it's tempo and value. It's exactly what something like Pirate Warrior wants to like get in the game, have that immediate tempo, but then have some sustain for, pushing it over the end.
Yeah, like exactly what you're saying. And the thing is, it's like where it's summoned, so it doesn't progress the quest line, but you're discovering a card that helps you progress the quest line. And you can probably pick one at a mana cost that you think is most efficient too. I feel like in general, the pirates that they have printed more recently are in general cheaper anyway, unless they have some sort of crazy effect, or they're that one guy that you have to control a pirate and then you equip a weapon from your deck, which wouldn't be the worst thing because we're going to have 2 Ankars, right? We're not running the Flintstone Hatchet. Right. I don't want to see any more Flintstone Hatchets, guys. Don't do it.
This is wild, not standard.
This is wild, not and it wasn't good in standard. It wasn't good in standard. No one liked it. Just don't do it anymore. But yeah, I that was the one that I was looking at. You identified that one. I like Follow the Fuse in theory. 1 mana, deal 2 damage to a random enemy. give a playable pirate in your hand this effect, and then if you play that pirate, it passes on the effect again, so you can keep sending it down the line.
Oh, fine.
So somebody did say, well, I mean, it doesn't have that anti-synergy with Parachute Brigand, and it does, but I don't expect Parachute Brigand to really get hit by this that often. I'm probably not playing this on turn 1. This is probably like a turn 3 or a turn 4 play. This is like a hey, here's how I'm going to end up building back versus my aggro opponent to try and take the board while building a board myself. I could see it being like, I'm not saying it's going to be good, but I'm looking at the effect and I'm like, I don't hate this card. I would try it out for sure, at least.
Absolutely. And the fact that it does say a random enemy, we're typically going to hopefully be the beatdown. If our opponent doesn't have any minions in play, then we can just continue.
Send it face. Yep.
Sending it face. Ship it.
It's like attaching a cannon basically to every playable minion in your hand. So you're getting about the same number of cannon shots, but you haven't had to stick the cannon.
Mm-hmm.
So
love it. I don't even know if we're going to run the cannon anymore because the cannoneers and follow the fuse just do that same thing.
I think you do, but you don't try to fit Skybarge anymore. I think Skybarge, I'd rather do follow the fuse. I don't know. We're going to have to make some real decisions, I think, on how to build the deck. And that's another, the last card, by the way, is Wanted Poster. It's 2 mana, discover a minion that costs 5 or more, give it prefer. Yeah, okay. So
we're never playing.
Talking about the good cards that right. Like I think in all 4 of these classes, there's something there that's a theme to try and cook, right? That seems like a lot of fun. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to do a lot of that when these go live. And I think that the devs have done a nice job of giving us cards that at least are making us think and aren't so like super obvious. Yes, it's like, oh yes, all right, it's Pirate Warrior. Go, find pirate and stick on a bunch of stuff. But like, no, some of the spells, like, how many of my spells am I going to include? Like there are some big decisions to be made.
I'm excited to play the quest again.
Me too.
Not gonna lie.
Hogger gives you 2. You'll have one that you'll top deck randomly and say, "Oh, goody!"
That'll be funny.
It's a little irritating.
Unrelated Advice with Electric Sheep City.
Sheep.
Ahoy, Schmoopiedaddy.
I know, like, usually I'm like trying to come up with something that's completely off the wall, out of left field here. It's just, no, we're going with the theme today. What are your best cures for hangovers so that next time I put myself in this position, I can try a sheep method?
So back in the day, whenever I was still consuming alcohol, because I've stopped that for myriad reasons. Back in the day, food. So for me, I would kind of sort of get a headache, but not too much. It was always much more the like gastrointestinal stuff.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It makes it sound great, doesn't it? No.
Uh-huh.
So what I would do is I would make bacon and hash browns.
Ooh.
And the hash browns, super easy. You just grate up a potato or 5 and you use that bacon grease to like give it a nice flavor. Then you just flip it around and then it would just
stepping in.
Mm-hmm. And so it makes it like going from like that, kind of like grumbly, not happy feeling to like, okay, this is soaking everything up and it tastes yummy and the whole house smells yummy too because of the bacon. That was usually my hangover cure was bacon and potatoes.
Wiser words have never been spoken. You heard that on
Born to be wild.
I'm gonna make some hash browns.